These are the Fantasy Facts presented by Gridiron Experts with your hosts, Pat Loftus and Seth Keller.
Welcome back, everybody. Seth and I had a little fun game of flipping each other off before the show starts, a la Wayne's World.
Yeah. And you can't. I think we used to do it back in the day too, and it was a
Before
nice
we went live, yeah.
Yeah.
It was, we could only see,
Yeah, when it was only the two of us looking at each other, and I would always do the 3, 2, 1. Whoop.
You didn't say 2 or 1. Well, you don't
Oh yeah, no, it's 5, 4.
Oh goodness, we are children. We are children talking about football, but we get to talk about football. All right. Where am I going? I'm trying to find a show sheet. We got a lot to cover. Week 12 was a busy week, so I think we'll jump right into it. But first, follow the show at GX Fantasy Facts. Seth is at FF the At Home Dad. I'm at Dynasty_Pat. We still have, or I should say not still, we have 2 promos running, one with Viridian Global. I believe that is this one. I did it. I'm learning how to use StreamYard. This is pretty cool.
You go.
Look at me. So
proud of you, Pat.
It only took 4 years. No, a year and a half. So Viridian Global at www.viridianglobal.com. Use the code FAQS, FAQS at checkout to get 10% off your order. And where is the other one? There it is. Join us on Underdog at Underdog Fantasy. Use the same promo code. That's FAQS, FAQS. I got it. And we will match, or they will match up to $100 of your first deposit.
And they just launched the wild card, which is their playoff best ball league. So if you're like, man, I missed the season-long best ball, I missed the resurrection, which was their week 7 and on best ball, and now you're like, I gotta get my fix of best ball football before the season's all completely done. You got to jump into the wild card. It's only $10, which if you use the promo code, deposit $100, get $100 free.
There you go.
That right there is 20 entries into that. You could have a whole hell of a lot of fun doing some of those wild card. I'm going to do it.
I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
Maybe we should do one live on the show. There we go.
That might be. Yeah. That might be. Shall we get into a busy show, recapping a busy week 12? But first,
it's time to pop one open with the opening question.
Opening question this week comes from at 4DownFF. Who would you rather have in a dynasty league? Elijah Moore, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, or Devonta Smith?
Who would I rather have in just dynasty
in dynasty? Who would you rather have in dynasty? Elijah Moore, T. Higgins, Brandon Ayuk, or Devonta Smith?
I feel like Higgins is kind of the go-to answer here, but honestly, I could make a case for Elijah Moore-ish maybe and Devonta Smith. I mean, they all Elijah Moore and Devonta Smith have quarterback questions, and T. Higgins has kind of competition questions. And so I kind of put them up there. Brandon Ayuk you also really jacked up his name, by the way. Just want to throw that out there.
It's AIYUK, correct?
No, in the show sheet, there's like
I just
like 7 vowels in there. But what was I gonna say? Yeah,
we're talking Brandon Ayuk.
He's only in his second year. Yes, there's been some really weird like usage patterns happening in San Francisco, but if we if we hold to the 3-year breakout for wide receivers kind of old adage that has been around forever, but then it seems like we forgot it because we got spoiled with a handful of first year rookie breakout wide receiver years. He may be a rebound type of player, but Higgins kind of fits into that same category too, except Higgins, he's the third guy. Ayuk is, probably second or third, and who's going to be his quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like I didn't ever actually answer that question, but I think Higgins is slightly ahead of the other three there.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree, and a lot of it is based off of question marks around who is throwing these receivers the football, right? I think the jury is still out on Zach Wilson. We know what we're getting in Joe Burrow. There's question marks in San Fran. Is it Jimmy G? Is it Trey Lance? Devonta Smith has Jalen Hurts. Can Jalen Hurts flip because he's a very prolific runner? He throws a good ball. I mean, he put 2 right on Jalen Reagor's hands the other night, and Reagor fucking got both of them. So I don't get how Devonta Smith wasn't even. I don't even think he was targeted on that last drive. Anyway,
I mean that's like DK Metcalf last night.
Yep.
Freddie Swain.
Yep.
Had a better night than DK Metcalf. Like shit happens. That's the bottom line of it.
Yeah.
Shit happens, and
Yeah. So to answer the question, yes, I'm with you. I think it's T. Higgins because Joe Burrow is the best of the 4 quarterbacks. I think Devonta Smith it's T. Higgins, a small-ish gap, Devonta Smith, a bigger gap, Elijah Moore, because just Elijah Moore is talented. You put him with any of the other quarterbacks, and he's probably at the top of this list. Elijah Moore 3, Brandon Ayuk 4.
I don't think the gaps are as big for me, but I think I agree with the order. I just don't agree with the.
Yeah, you think they're closer?
I do think they're a lot closer.
Fair.
And I think quarterback change like next year. Who knows who's going to kind of come out as a quarterback for any of those. Really, anybody except for T. Higgins, because Joe Burrow should be there, barring
catastrophic injury.
Knock on wood, another catastrophic injury. So, and all 3 of them are pretty talented. So,
agreed.
That was a rather long opening question.
Yeah, whatever. It was good conversation. Good conversation. To the news desk.
Fresh Fantasy Facts News Desk.
So it was a rough week 12. Lots of big names went down with injuries. We'll start with really the lone quarterback injury, and that is Jalen Hurts. He has left ankle stepped on by a teammate, and they're calling him right now. It's Tuesday. They're calling him questionable for week 13. I believe the Eagles have an early game. They are a 1 o'clock. Yep, they're a 1 o'clock game at the Jets this week. So, little too early to tell, but he is someone to monitor because he is prolific rushing the football and scores the majority of his points that way.
Yeah, I really don't like the prospects for Jalen Hurts kind of right now. I mean, he's been a point of contention because of how bad his play has kind of been in terms of what he does on the field versus what he has done for fantasy teams, right? And so there's been kind of a back and forth on, oh, he's really good. Oh, wait, he kind of sucked. Oh, wait, no, he's good. Oh, wait, he sucked. And recently, I mean, he torched New Orleans. He had 30 points. But before that, out of his last, not including week 12 where he kind of hurt himself. I mean, he still threw the ball 31 times, so I kind of feel like we should include it. Out of the last 5 games, he's only had one game above 20 points. It was a 30-point game. He had he had a 9.9 game, an 11.2 game, a 16.7 game, and 19.6 game. That's like you're close to like Ryan Tannehill numbers there. And Ryan Tannehill has sucked this year. I know.
So
I've had to start Ryan Tannehill in a few leagues.
And just to take the one step further, right? Going back, I mean, he only has 2 games where he's thrown for over 300 yards. That was back in week 3 and week 4. He only has 2 more games where he's thrown for over 200 yards, and that was week 1, and that was week 7.
Yep.
At the Lions, 103 yards through the air, 162 yards against the Chargers. He's not getting it done through the air. He's getting it done on the ground. He's averaging, he's close to 60, 65 yards a game on the ground. He scored 8 touchdowns rushing this year. That's where he's doing his damage. So an injury to his ankle could be tricky this week, even though they're playing the Jets.
Yeah.
So it's something to monitor.
And with a bye week, week 14, if his ankle is, if it is, 70%, or worse, like if it's bad, then I think it's easy to sit him. But if the Eagles need to make if they need to make a call of, hey, he's okay, but he's not good, like Gardner Minshew for a game, not terrible. Like Minshew was able to put up some points and put up some W's for the Jags last year when they were terrible.
There are worse options for backup quarterbacks. Ask me how I know.
Because you start Jared Goff as your starting quarterback? Yeah. There we go. Oh, I love the Lions shit talking already, and we're only 13 minutes into the show.
Let's move over to tight ends. A few more injuries this week. So Dan Arnold, it's a right knee. It's a right MCL sprain. He's out 4 to 6 weeks, which is effectively the season because the Jaguars are not good.
No,
I think that's fair. James Oshak Hennessy.
O'Shea Hennessy, that's
the one. Hennessy's the next man up. I believe I saw he ran a route on 20 after Arnold got hurt. He ran routes on like 75% or more of Trevor Lawrence's dropbacks. So he's a guy to grab if you're in a pinch. I don't think I'd be starting him, but maybe a best ball or a DFS option if you want.
Yeah, I mean,
if you want to get crazy.
I mean, think of it like I actually was starting Dan Arnold in a couple of places because he was used in that Jags offense. Like they traded to get him, and they were using him, right? Like his targets over the last, minus week 11, which again shit happens, but before that, week 10, 8, week 9, 7, week 8, 10. Like that was coming out of their bye week in week 7, and then he got hurt week 12 against Atlanta. And like he was being used. He was a part of that offense. So if you're in a super tight bind, like I was starting Dan Arnold, which is a pretty tight bind. Like I might have to pick up O'Shea Hennessy because my other options are going to be.
Yeah, no, that's it. If you're in a pinch, and that moves to the next couple tight ends we're going to talk about. The next is Pat Freiermuth in Pittsburgh. He was a bit concussed late in the game, so he's progressing through concussion protocol. His status right now is to be determined.
Yeah.
So if you were rolling out Freiermuth like I was in a couple of leagues, as your tight end, you're going to want to try. You can't pick up the backup in Pittsburgh because Freiermuth was the backup. Ebron's done for the year.
Yeah.
If you were rolling with Darren Waller, Darren Waller left the game with a knee injury. They're calling that one week to week. They're diagnosing it as a strained IT band, which I don't know much in that space. So I would suggest the two biggest pickups this week are probably Oshak Hennessy and now Foster Moreau.
Yeah,
those are the two biggest tight end pickups that could potentially make some noise this week. Yeah. And just we'll circle back to this with Darren Waller. I want to round out the last tight end here. Harrison Bryant in Cleveland left with a high ankle sprain. He is week to week. So, excuse me, a potential uptick in either David Njoku or Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
But I would imagine both of those guys are rostered.
Yeah, I was just going to say Njoku's definitely the top guy that I would try and grab there, but chances are, somebody else already kind of scooped him up because he was starting to get a little bit more run in that Cleveland offense as well. And Foster Moreau, he had a moment earlier in the season. I don't remember exactly what week it was, but he had a moment where people were like, "Oh, Foster Moreau." So he may still be on a roster somewhere. He may have been thrown back out to the waiver wire, but I think he would be the next best option there. Yeah. And actually, he's probably your best waiver wire ad, just for the sake that, agree. Well, not best overall, but best in terms of these tight ends.
Yeah,
because the Las Vegas Raiders can score points at some times, right? Whereas like Jacksonville, no. And the Browns sometimes, but a lot of times it's Chubb kind of punching it in. Yeah. You're not going to get as much, and Njoku, like I said, was getting more involved. But I think the upside of Foster Moreau definitely outweighs.
The play Harrison Bryant got hurt on was a 30, 40-ish yard gainer. It was a big play, and just got dragged down from behind and rolled that ankle. So it looks like, at least at that time, they were liking what they saw out of Bryant, and they were trying to get him the ball. Can't say the same for Njoku or Hooper, but it's tight ends at this point in the year. It's a messy landscape.
Yep.
All right, let's go to wide receivers. Let's start in Green Bay. Randall Cobb has a groin strain. He is out 2 to 4 weeks. Who do we think? Who is the next man up in Green Bay? Is it Lazard? Is it MV? Who's the wide receiver you want there other than Davante Adams?
It's pretty much only Davante Adams. Like I don't really want. I don't really want anyone else.
Fair.
I mean, Lazard. Honestly, all of them are just so hit or miss. Like it's just not. It's like not worth it to like try to put them into your lineup and feel confident, right? And I'm just pulling up Cobb's stats from the year now. Like Cobb was having a great day against the Rams, but look back to what he did before that. Week 11, 2 points. Week 10, 5 points. Week 9, 8 points. Week 8, 16 and a half. Awesome. What did he do before that? 5.
Yeah.
Like it's just so hit or miss with every one of these wide receivers that
I feel like if you were in 12-team leagues, Randall Cobb is probably not startable. Probably not even flexible, unless you were decimated in like week 7 or one of those weeks where. One of those weeks where there are multiple, 4 or 5, 6 teams on a bye, right? You probably have better luck getting like a Josh Reynolds now, getting like the kid in Tennessee, Nick Westbrook. We butchered his name last week. I'm not even gonna.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you're probably better off trying to grab a guy like that than you would probably be, a guy who's a 1 or a 2. Somewhere else versus, trying to pick up potentially the third option in Green Bay.
And the Pack are on bye in week 13, so you're not starting any of them this week. It would be, coming up against either Chicago, Baltimore, Cleveland, Minnesota. That's how the Pack kind of rounds out the the season. And again, like I'm not like, yes, are there leagues where I'm desperate at wide receiver and I might throw one of them in there because they might be the guy that scores that one touchdown that doesn't go to Devontae Adams? Right. Sure. But am I confident or hoping? Am I like, oh boy, I get to put MVS in?
Right.
No, not at all.
All right. Deebo Samuel is next. Also a groin strain. He is out 1 to 2 weeks. Deebo Samuel is turning into a just do it all. Like they're just get him the ball however you can. And for him to go down is a huge blow to that San Francisco team. Even if it's 2 weeks. Like I know they're not really competing in that NFC West. However, if you have him on your team, you are rolling him out every week, no question, and it's real hard to replace that productivity.
Yep. In one of the leagues that I legit was picking up defenses because it's a league that still starts defenses because of their playoff matchups. Mm-hmm. Because I had Deebo and CMC, and I was looking like I was just going to roll into the playoffs. It took my team was a little up and down, but it kind of even itself out. I was right in that 6th seed. Now I'm like on the 7th or 8th seed because I got beat by Leonard Fournette. Dropped almost like 40 to 50 points.
He dropped a 40 bomb, yeah.
Yeah, like depending on league scoring, with bonuses and stuff, I think he got a little bit extra in this one. And, now it's like, what do I do with Deebo, right? Because he has his groin strain. And is that going to be, out for 1 week,
Is it 1 week? Is it 2 weeks? Is it linger? That's the problem with these.
Yep.
All right, let's move to Dallas real quick because there's good news and bad news. We'll start with the good news, right? Adam Schefter is reporting that CeeDee Lamb is expecting to play in Week 13 against the Saints, meaning he is cleared concussion protocol. Now, I haven't seen anything yet that has said those exact words where he's cleared protocol, but Schefter's reporting CeeDee Lamb is expecting to play. But then Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy came out and said that Amari Cooper, who's still on the COVID list, is not feeling the best. Non-committal about Week 13 availability. The practice tomorrow, Wednesday, is going to be a good indicator because Dallas does play New Orleans on Thursday night. Now, you are firing up CeeDee Lamb, no questions asked. Cooper, on the other hand, even if he's cleared to play, I would have serious reservations about putting him in my lineup, especially because it's a Thursday night game.
Yeah, and I want to say, and I'm just trying to look at it now.
Yeah, because I pulled all this stuff, around lunchtime. All this.
Yeah, and I want to say that. So it looks like Cooper did not practice today.
Yep.
There's the Mike McCarthy one. Yeah, here it is. Jerry Jones, so the owner, because who knows better than good old Jerry, said the Cowboys are fully expecting Amari Cooper to play Thursday night. And that's from John Machado, who is like a pretty good,
well-known
reporter for the Cowboys. And so like I want to believe it, but for Thanksgiving, if you tuned into my hashtag lunchtime live draft, I was like, CeeDee Lamb looks like he's going to play. There's people saying they're expecting him to play. I'm going to pick him up in the second, third round of these underdog drafts, and I'm going to feel real good about it. And I did all the way up until he was ruled out, and I got swapped out like I didn't get swapped out Cedric Wilson, that's for sure. I got swapped out like some bum that got like 2 points. So it's going to be real hard. It's going to be hard to trust either of these two guys unless they practice tomorrow. I'm going to have them out of my lineup and then be, pleasantly surprised if I can put them into my lineup versus, having like I had last week where I was like, oh, I feel like CeeDee Lamb's going to play. I'm going to put him in my lineup and expect him to go. And then, the carpet gets pulled out from underneath me.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Let's round out news and notes. A lot of running back discussion here. It was a brutal week for running backs. We'll start in Philly with Miles Sanders. Re-aggravated that right ankle sprain. They're calling it week to week. Let's see. We talked about Philly. They're playing the Jets. The Jets are not good against the run. I've been burned by Kenny Gainwell in the past, so I'm going to go ahead and say Boston Scott is the running back in Philly to pick up for this week. So it's probably the week that Gainwell goes off.
Yeah, I don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Like the Gainwell got a little bit of hype earlier on in the season, but since then it's been nothing.
Yeah.
And like they picked up Jordan Howard essentially, off the street and was like, oh, Gainwell, Howard, yeah, we're going with Howard and get him out there, and he did fine. So I mean, I think Howard still has like another week maybe until he comes back.
Yeah.
So it's a Boston Scott game to me.
He should be a priority pickup who may not be rostered because of guys that came back from injury. He might have been the first guy you caught, as you're bringing somebody back from the IR. So I would imagine Boston Scott will be one of the priority pickups this week. Let's move to LA and the Rams. Darrell Henderson has a quad strain. He is questionable for week 13. Are we going to see a Sony Michel resurgence? No. Are you avoiding all of the Rams backfield this week?
I mean, I just don't know I don't know who you would play, and I also don't think the Rams have seems like they've gotten figured out a little bit by defenses where it's like all you have to put pressure on Stafford and it forces Stafford to make some poor decisions. And I
haven't seen those before.
Yeah, I'm sure Pat's looking at it like, what? No way. I'm
shocked.
Yeah, I feel like Pat could have been like a defensive coordinator against. It's like, no, guys. All you have to do. I've watched this schmuck for 10 years. Just do this. I watched it go wrong.
The entire state of Michigan can do
that. But yeah, like it's like they started kind of getting figured out a little bit, and Henderson been doing okay, but I mean, like I like Henderson a whole lot more than I like anyone else in that backfield. And Henderson is a guy that I think he's a solid. I mean, he's RB13 right now on the season, but like on a week to week basis, he's like a solid RB2 type of play.
Yeah.
And like, I mean, who else are you playing there? And this is hilarious to me. So I'm looking at a Sleeper to pull some of the stats and stuff. I like how they have the little team feature right there. These are the running backs that they have for the Rams: Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, Buddy Howell, Cam Akers, Javian Hawkins, Mekhi Sargent, Jake Funk, Xavier Jones, and Raymond Calais. Usually, most teams have like 3 or 4 running backs listed there.
You read off a lot.
They have what? I didn't even count. Was that 9?
9? It was a lot.
It was nine different running backs, and like I'm not excited about Sony Michel. I don't want to play him, and honestly, I feel like I'd rather look elsewhere than look towards one of these guys, even against Jacksonville. If Darrell Henderson can't play, I'd rather bet on Henderson playing than bet on anything involving Sony Michel or Buddy Howell.
Right. Moving to Washington, J.D. McKissick took a weird, it was just a weird hit. The whole thing was weird to me because he got hit, he went down, and then like immediately players were calling for the trainers to come on, and then they carted him off. There's no real diagnosis yet. It's a neck injury. It's week to week. It might be a concussion. It was a weird series of events that happened to McKissick in that game. So he's a guy that's been he's been a great PPR play. He was having a hell of a night Monday night, 2 touchdowns before the injury. So fingers crossed it's nothing serious. I hate to say this, but it's just a concussion or just a neck injury.
Yeah,
and he's able to get right, and we see him back.
Yeah, you're hoping it's like some kind of like a stinger or something like that, right? Like you really want to hope that it's something like that. One, because you never want to hope injury on these guys, but two, like the alternative is just so bad, right? Yeah. And McKissic looked really good, and he was a really great flex play because he scored you about 7, 8, 9 points,
really safe floor.
Like typical. But then he also had those weeks where he dropped 20, right, where he was able to get a couple of catches or scamper into the end zone. Like he scored the first 2 touchdowns for Washington. He scored I think it was twice before Gibson even got in. Gibson got in, what was it, 1 or 2 last night? It was really tough to keep attention on that game. And so, like I don't want to say he looked better than Gibson, but like they were both running really well against a Seattle defense that they were able to kind of wear down, right? And so,
I mean, it's not like that Seattle defense, the vaunted Seattle defense of years past. They're pretty bad. But McKissic, he was getting it done on the ground, 7 carries for 30 yards and a score, 5 catches on 5 targets for 26 and a score, which is that's your pretty much your standard J.D. McKissic game, right? He's not going to carry the ball 15 times. Yeah. He's going to see 7, 8, 10 targets. He's going to catch most, if not all of them. I mean, he does his damage through the air, and he was having a hell of a game.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it does bring up my boy Jaret Patterson, though.
Yeah.
I am excited for him to maybe carve out a little bit of a larger role here. Realistically, it's probably going to be a heavy lean on Gibson. Like I would say it's going to be a lot more of a heavy lean on Gibson than it is going to be Jaret Patterson picking up extra work. I think that's that's what we're going to kind of see here is Gibson going from a split backfield to a workhorse for however long McKissic is out. And again, hopefully it's not that long, but I would say that's where we're most likely going to go there.
All right. Shall we go to Carolina? CMC left so we're going to have an interesting conversation
Force
about
them out for the homies.
Yeah. So let's run through these kind of quickly, and we'll rip the Band-Aid off. CMC left ankle sprain, out for the year. Not really surprising. Carolina's not been very good. No, as my one friend put it, there's no need to put unnecessary miles on a Ferrari.
Yeah.
CMC done for the year. Ezekiel Elliott has a bone bruise. They're calling him day-to-day. Now, Ian Rappaport is reporting that the Cowboys may alter his usage while he deals with the bruised knee. What did you do?
I accidentally tried swiping to go to the other screen, and I swiped to go back.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Really throws me for a loop there. All right. So Rappaport's reporting that the Cowboys may alter Zeke's usage, but Jerry Jones comes out and says that Zeke Elliott will have a serious workload on Thursday night. So
I think you just can't trust Jerry Jones. But
I think so. We'll see. I mean, you're not sitting Zeke this week. You're starting him. So let's see. DeAndre Swift of the Lions. It's a shoulder sprain. So it might be the AC joint, might be the SC joint. He is out week 13, possibly week 14. And Dalvin Cook left with a left shoulder dislocation. He is out 2 to 3 weeks. And an MRI yesterday also confirmed a partially torn labrum in the same shoulder that's going to require off-season surgery. So there are guys out there. Tony Pollard is probably not on the waiver wire. Jamal Williams might be. Alexander Madison might be. I
wouldn't now. Madison won't be. Chuba Howard probably won't be. Chuba Howard probably won't be.
In dynasty leagues, no. In seasonal leagues, I believe I have claims in, and I'm checking now, but I'm pretty sure I put claims in for all of them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
I put in claims for Jamal Williams, Boston Scott. Okay, so no, Madison was not, but
yeah,
it doesn't hurt to check. Go check, and if they're there, put a claim in for them.
Yeah, one like super deep. Like maybe throw something out there in pure desperation.
Don't say Amir Abdullah.
No, oh God, no. The running back out of Detroit,
Jamar Jefferson.
No, because he's also injured. I want to say it's Godwin Igwebuike. I believe I pronounced that last name right.
Close enough, yeah.
He showed some decent pop against Philly in the past. Or sorry, not against Philly, but against Pittsburgh. That was the game where it was like, oh wow, like Detroit seems to be doing something, and he had like a massive run. I feel like Detroit isn't going to put all of their all their eggs in the Jamal Williams basket. Like they have so much going for them in Detroit. But to me, that also means like at this point in the season, why not give a young kid? I mean, he's actually not a young kid, but a guy that hasn't had a bunch of chances. Why not give him a couple shots out here against a Minnesota team that is probably gonna shit on the Lions real good, like real good. So
yeah, I mean Jefferson was actually cleared to play last week.
Was he a healthy scratch then, or did he just not?
He was cleared to suit up. They just
didn't do it.
Yeah, so he was active for week 12. So he should be active for week 13. I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, it looks
stating otherwise. So
it looks like he was on the field for 10% of the snaps and just didn't do anything in those 10%. So maybe there is some Jamar Jefferson, life out there. I know there were some people that talked about him during the draft the draft hype season, where everybody gets their own little hype train, and so maybe this is Jamar Jefferson's chance to pop a little bit. Again, both deep desperation dart throws. That I will be making. Now I need to go check to see if Jamar Jefferson's on a waiver wire somewhere, where I have CMC and Derrick Henry both sitting in my IR spots. And now I go from, competing for first place in the league to like, man, I really hope I get the 6th seed and scamper into the playoffs.
Right.
Fantasy football is a fickle beast at times. All right, let's keep it moving.
So you wanted to float a question out there, and this is probably the best time to talk about it since we just covered running backs, and we're about to get into the Week 13 slate of games. So, what is your question, Seth?
Yeah, so I saw this floating a bit around on Twitter. You saw it float around kind of in a different way, but it's asking the question of what do we do with these aging running backs for next year? And so for a time when CMC was the RB1 in redraft and dynasty at times, Saquon was the RB1. He fell to like the back of the first round. Zeke was in the conversation of being in the top 3, but now is struggling with staying healthy and is up there in age. Delvin Cook struggles to stay healthy, is up there in age. What do we do with these guys that have been,
I mean, you talk about
those top 5 arguments.
You talk about these guys like they're, 28, 29, 30. They're, Chubb is 26, Zeke's 26, Cook is 26. Like, Derrick Henry's the old man here at 27. So
I mean, they're all at the upper echelon of RB age, though, right? Like the age cliff is like they're already like about to jump off of it at 26. That's just the way the running back position kind of is. There's not many guys that can produce that into their late 20s. And so again, they go from top 5 to what?
I mean, guys like CMC, boy, if I were starting like a dynasty league today, drafting today, I would have a hard time letting any of them go past like 107, 108. And I feel like that's super late. Like there's no way CMC is falling past the 103, right? You can make the case.
That's 2 years now.
Jonathan Taylor, I think, is clear cut 101. I mean, Derrick Henry, 102, maybe Kamara, 102, CMC, 103. Like, and then the other, the Dalvin Cooks, the Zekes, the Nick Chubbs, Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones, these 26, 27-year-old guys.
I mean, there's
some of them will slip, but I can't see him slipping anything out of the first round. I feel like if you get any of those guys late first, early second, it's an absolute steal.
Yeah. Well, the league that I got Jonathan Taylor in the late first and Saquon Barkley in the early second, I thought I was going to do great in Pat. You told me I was going to do great in it.
I know. I did it too. Yeah. I did that in a couple drafts too.
My team's 1-11, Pat. Thanks. I blame you. Pat.
That's fine.
That is by far like my worst league. I feel like this is my worst league that I've had in like years. It's been so bad. But anyways, I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of questions, and I want people to be prepared for the hot take season that is about to start, leading into it's going to go all the way into the start of next year, where people are going to say shit like Zeke should retire and Tony Pollard should take over, because that's what people have been saying since the start of this year. So, and I didn't buy it then. I probably won't buy it at the next year. But there are some serious questions with you're saying you're going to take CMC in the top 3. It's been 2 years back to back that he hasn't been able to finish the season. Like that's frightening.
I mean, I think frightening. This season, it was the hamstring. Now it's the ankle. But him being shut down for the year is a byproduct of Carolina being bad and out of contention. If Carolina was in contention, fighting for a playoff spot or fighting for home field, then you can make the case of not putting CMC on IR and maybe getting him back for the playoffs. But
is Carolina going to be good next year where they're going to be competing? I don't think so. Not with Sam Darnold, and I mean, what Cam Newton looked like
PJ Walker
screwed me over in a couple of leagues, because I was like, all right, Cam, let's keep it rolling, Cam.
I was one of those guys too. Yeah, I mean, I think Carolina, realistically it's not next year.
Yeah.
2 years, probably.
Yeah, and I just don't.
I mean, they're staring another top 10. Okay. They're staring a top 10 pick in the face, right? They need a quarterback. You could probably make a strong argument that Carolina's taking a quarterback at 10, or wherever. Right now, their Tankathon has them picking 10th. Yeah. So you can make a case that Carolina's picking a quarterback. Now they're more than just a quarterback away, but you can see how.
Maybe they take a step.
I mean, maybe it's 2023. And even if it is 2023, it's not like Christian McCaffrey is 25, 24, 25. He's 25, right? He'll be 26. He'll be 26 in June. So it's not unrealistic to see Christian McCaffrey be a successful NFL running back into his 20, in a year, his age 26, 27, 28.
I mean, if his body can hold, if his ankles can hold up,
right,
and that's the fear. But
correct. No, it's a good question. It's something we're going to have to reflect on during draft season, SZN season next year. Let's get into week 13.
Oh yeah.
So let's start with teams that are on a bye. We just talked a lot about the Panthers. They're on a bye this week. The Browns, the Packers, and the Titans, all 4 teams on a bye this week. Don't start anyone on those 4 teams, please, especially because we're getting close to the playoffs. Don't make that mistake.
I mean, the good thing is that there's not a ton of options there that you were playing. It's going to really hurt to not have Devontae Adams there.
Yeah.
But like Aaron Jones has been hurt. Maybe you had, AJ Dillon in there. But I mean, other than that, like, were you rolling out Jarvis Landry? I mean, you were probably rolling out Chubb.
DJ Moore.
Yeah, DJ Moore. Like, there's like a guy on each team, but other than that, like, you're not really rolling anybody out. Downtrend Hillard was a great play last week, and I think we said that, didn't we? I don't remember now.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
Because of the McNichols, because of the AJ Brown injury, and where they could see, a potential uptick in points. But the Patriots did Patriot things and pretty much shut down. I was surprised to see our boy Nick Westbrook, whatever his name is, score a touchdown.
Yeah, Akeen, I think it is. I don't think you pronounce the last. Is it Akine? I don't watch it. Like I don't watch enough Titans games with the sound on.
No,
to listen to the commentator say it to get it right, and I probably should because I don't want to keep checking it up. But
all right, so I'm going to jump right into it because I'm looking forward to this game on Thursday night. We've talked a lot about Dallas. We've got a potential quarterback change in New Orleans, so Taysom Hill might be under center instead of Trevor Siemian. We have the Saints that are giving up the second most points to the quarterback position, the third most points to the wide receiver position. However, they are a strong run defense. They are giving up the least number of points to the running back position. So depending on where you're getting your info on Zeke, you're still going to start him, but maybe temper expectations. And then on the Dallas side, do we get Kamara back this week? That's the one. Will you check on that?
I want to say he did return to practice. But let's see. He was limited in practice today, according to Nick Underhill.
Okay, so that's another one. The Wednesday practice that will be a huge indicator for that. You got a new quarter. Oh, go ahead.
And he practiced in a limited fashion for 3 days now. So it's been 3 days in a row with limited practice. So if he's a full participant tomorrow, I would say he's going to go. If he's a limited participant tomorrow, I would say he's probably going to go. But I would definitely have backups ready to roll in case he can't. Like, I would be more prepared for like that pleasant surprise of like, Kamara is playing tonight, let me get him in my lineup, than the alternative.
And the Saints need Kamara. I'm looking at the NFC right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So San Fran is 6, but then you have Washington, Minnesota, Atlanta, and New Orleans all tied at 5 and 6, fighting for a potential wild card or a last playoff spot. So you need Alvin Kamara in that lineup. So you've got, and just looking at this game, right, this Thursday night game, you've got it's middle of the road to above average defenses, with the exception being the Saints giving up a lot of points to the quarterback and wide receiver position. So, fingers crossed that CeeDee Lamb is fully healthy, that Cooper's back. I think Dak's going to feast. I think we're looking at a Dallas win here, but I could see points being scored across the board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm of course looking forward to this one. Which is actually, I just realized this. I actually get to go to the bar on Thursday night.
Nice.
Yes, that just makes it so much more worth it. Yeah, but I mean, that's going to be a great game. It for enjoyment of just good football, I hope Kamara plays. For me, being a Cowboys fan, I want my Cowboys to win, and Kamara is going to make that a whole lot more difficult. So, as a Cowboys fan, I hope he doesn't. But I do think that there's going to be a lot of fun in that game. Dak seems to be back to himself. It's a question of what we're going to get out of Zeke or Pollard. But I think this game could have a lot of really fun kind of storylines to it. And that's going to produce a lot of fantasy points, right? Like the fact that the Saints are so bad against pass catchers makes me not quite so hesitant to play Amari Cooper. Like if Amari Cooper is healthy and playing is the one, then I'm okay with it because the Saints are so bad. But if he's not, if he needs to get better because hopefully the Cowboys are making a playoff run at some point here. And Cedric Wilson had a fine day, on Thanksgiving. Bringing CD back is going to be fine. Gallup is, still a good wide receiver, even if, he's kind of fallen down the ranks a little bit. But like they have enough wide receivers where you don't have to force Cooper back. Right. But if he is back, I like him in this matchup. Like I would still roll him out there. So I like him a whole lot more than any of these Saints pass catchers that, I could possibly be rolling out there.
Right. Where are you looking? What game are you looking at?
I mean, there's a couple that I think are going to be really interesting. I'm gonna stay in the NFC East though, and we talked a little bit about it in the news with the Raiders and the injury to Darren Waller. On the flip side of that, instead of going positive, instead of going negative, we could go positive. Logan Thomas came back and looked the goddamn good man for Washington.
I'm not sure how they called that touchdown back either.
Yeah, it did move a little bit, but I'm really surprised that they overturned the ruling.
They called it touchdown. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, on the field it was ruled a touchdown, and then they overturned it, which was really, really surprising. But I don't think I'll ever understand the referees. Even considering the Cowboys Raiders game last on Thanksgiving, which set records,
almost 300 yards in penalties. Correct.
Yeah, it set records. I was seeing tweets about it where it was 27 accepted penalties or 27 called penalties for 297 yards. And that's more yardage than Jalen Hurts puts out on a weekly basis. Okay. Anyways, not to slow down too much there, but this is a really interesting matchup because the Raiders have they have Derek Carr who's doing okay. They have Josh Jacobs who's kind of coming into his own, and their wide receivers aren't phenomenal, but they're kind of there's some interesting plays there, and the Washington football team they're giving up the most points to quarterbacks, and they're giving up the most points to wide receivers. And so, even in that game last night, what's his name? Geno just straight up missed a ton of passes and bad passes too. Guy was wide open on comebacks or little just flash routes out to the sideline. And he was sailing them into the bench. It was just really bad. They could have done even better and hurt the Seattle's kind of defensive rankings even more. And they just couldn't, right? So, could a Bryan Edwards have a game? Could a Hunter Renfrow have a game? could a Foster Moreau have a game? Yeah, I mean the Washington football team is pretty decent against tight ends. They're also pretty decent against running backs. But I mean, this is a team that can be beat. But the Raiders are also a team that can be beat. And back to Logan Thomas looking good. The Raiders have given up the most points to tight ends. So you could have a game where Logan Thomas coming back off of IR, his second game back, and could just absolutely feast. And this Raiders defense is giving up points pretty much, they're 6th to quarterbacks, 8th to running backs, and 23rd to wide receivers. So they're slowing down wide receivers, but at the expense of allowing quarterbacks, running backs, and tight ends to do whatever they want, right? So I think this is a game that it could definitely hit the over, and I have to double check to see what the line is for it. But this is a game that I could see points being scored because both defenses they allow opposing teams to move the ball. So
I was looking at that one as I was prepping for the show, looking at like, okay, where could we see a lot of points being scored in that game? I'm glad you talked about that game because I was looking at that one as well. And another one, just real quick, that I think the game I'm looking forward to the most is the Monday night game. New England travels to Buffalo. Stop me if you've heard this one before. The New England Patriots leading the AFC East, traveling to Buffalo. New England on a 6-game win streak. New England's 5-0 on the road. Mac Jones looking like a star. I mean, the backfield leaves some questions to be answered in New England because is it Damian Harris? Is it Ramondre Stevenson? What's going to happen there? But you have two really good defenses. I mean, they are far and away the best defenses in the AFC in terms of total points allowed. And in fact, I'm just checking the rest of the league. Yeah, they are the top 2 teams in the entire National Football League in terms of total points allowed. So points are going to be at a premium here, but you're going to see a really, really, really good football game.
Yeah.
Because no one does it better than Bill Belichick in taking away his opponent's best player.
Yeah, and I'm just looking at some of the odds on that game and stuff, and it's New England +3, Buffalo -2.5, over under of only 44 or 43, depending on which book you're looking at. And so that's going to be a really interesting game. How do you parse out what's going to happen with those two teams, right? New England, like you mentioned, 5-0 on the road, 6-game win streak. The Bills have lost to the Jags, but they've also they've stomped just other
they've done what
competitive programs, right? Except when they faced the Jaguars and lost. What was it? 9-6. That was embarrassing.
No, it's when you put that schedule together, you obviously don't think that New England was going to be leading the division, but it's a divisional game. It's in Buffalo. It's in December. It's going to be cold. It's going to be snowy. It's going to be windy. It's going to be shitty weather. Yeah. So
beautiful football weather.
It's going to be a beautiful football game. Mm-hmm. All right. Was there one more you wanted to hit on real quick, or should we go to the Fact Attack?
Just real quick. I'm excited to see the Colts kind of smash the Texans, and the Texans, probably being able to put up some points also because the Colts defense isn't that great.
I think I saw that, I should have saved this one for the show, but it was a Jonathan Taylor tweet. It's basically 9 weeks in a row. Jonathan Taylor has been a top 12 running back, and he's been a top 5 running back 6 of those weeks. I expect that trend to continue against a really bad Houston team.
Yeah, and the Colts should be able to do whatever they want against the Texans, and it's going to be real interesting to see. Again, the Colts defense isn't that good. So there could be opportunities for Brandon Cooks to get over the top. There could be opportunities for Who was the other wide receiver that was making a little bit of noise for him? I don't remember now. It wasn't Nico Collins.
Did you say Amendola?
No.
We're talking Houston wide receivers, right?
Yeah, there was another one that caught a touchdown just this past week. I don't know. I'll look it up real quick, but we can get ready for the fact attack unless you want to add anything to the Texans.
No, not really. I mean, I'm going to be rolling out any Indianapolis Colts where I have them. So
yeah,
everyone should do the same.
Yeah. Was it Chris Conley? Maybe. I don't know.
Conley. I don't think he caught a touchdown though.
See, now this is just going to bother me. Yeah, Nico Collins only had 28 yards.
Yeah.
No,
I mean
maybe it was Danny Amendola.
The tight ends did well. No, tight ends did well in week 12. I mean, Brevin Jordan had this is half PP. This is full PPR. Brevin Jordan had 11.3 points, and that was outside of Tyrod and Brandon Cooks. That was it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Okay. So the fact attack. We found your questions on the Twitters, and we're going to put 5 minutes on the clock, and we're going to try to answer these questions for you to help you out. Are we ready?
We will be in 1 second.
All right,
I put a lot of work into these drops, always. Pat. Like we're not skipping over that shit.
No, I wasn't expecting that. All right, first one's from at. You got the timer going? Are we on the clock? At Jason Quinn 1992. Would you drop Mike Gesicki for Logan Thomas in a half PPR league?
Yes.
Yes. Unequivocally, yes.
I mean, I would.
Yes.
Honestly, I would wonder what else you have to possibly drop, but the answer is yes. I would drop Gesicki for Logan Thomas. But honestly, like I might, depending on what else you got, like I might put them both out there because Gesicki's been decent as well. So
he slowed down a little bit, but yes, I mean, in this instance, for what we know, yes, drop Gesicki, pick up Logan Thomas.
Yeah.
Next is from at JPEP20, 1 quarterback league, rest of the season, Taysom Hill or Cam Newton?
Oh man.
So I was just reading up on this, and it looks like the only thing that's keeping Taysom Hill from starting in New Orleans is a foot injury. Once he heals from that, I'm expecting Taysom Hill to be the starter there moving forward. So if I have to pick between these two, it's close. I know Carolina has some, better weapons on the outside in DJ Moore and in Robbie Anderson. But Taysom Hill also has Alvin Kamara, Traquan Smith.
Who he doesn't really throw to, though.
I'm going to say Taysom Hill. It's close, but I'm going Taysom Hill.
I just don't trust the team. I feel like I'd rather roll out Cam Newton, even after his just horrific performance last week. I feel like I'd rather roll out Cam Newton with the hope that he can get the ball to DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson, just a shell of himself. And Hubbard has been decent back there. He's no CMC, but he's decent. Whereas I just don't know if I don't know if Hill is going to target Kamara enough because he hasn't done it in the past. So, it kind of takes away that weapon for him.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next up.
From at chasing it down for week 13 and just this week, half point PPR league, Jalen Waddle or Jamar Chase?
I'm going to go Chase because I feel he's the better wide receiver, and also he has the better quarterback and more consistent quarterback play. I mean, he is going up against the Chargers, but if if the Bengals are going to win, I think it's because either Mixon just goes ham, or because Jamar Chase is able to get at least a score, if not more. So
I'm kind of leaning Jalen Waddle this week. The Giants are not that great against wide receivers. Waddle's really the only legitimate pass catching option there.
mm-hmm.
Mike Gesicki's on the decline. I'm going to go Waddle over Chase this week.
Yeah, and to me, it's a matter of touchdown upside. Mm-hmm. So if they're going into my flex, mm-hmm. I want the touchdown upside. But yeah, I mean Waddle. I mean, honestly, they're both good options. I mean, mm-hmm. Waddle's targets recently 10, 9, 6, 10, 11. The issue is just his touchdowns have been 1, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 2. Like back in week 6, so whereas Chase he has slowed down, where in the beginning of the season it was 1, 1, 2, 0, 1, now it's 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. Like there's more consistent touchdown upside there, and I'd rather chase that with my flex.
Fair.
More bang for your buck.
Right. So from at Ray Money with 3 Y's on the end, week 13 only, 6-point passing touchdown league. Herbert or Cousins?
I mean, do you ever really trust Cousins? Yes. I mean, against the Lions, I guess you do, but
this, I think, to me comes down to floor versus ceiling and what you need. If you are chasing points, then Herbert is your high upside play. If you are, and I'm looking, bear with me, where are these games?
I mean, I think
Chargers 1:00.
Minnesota's a 1:00.
They're both 1:00 games. So Minnesota's at Detroit. The Chargers are at the Bengals. I can't remember if it was Roto where I saw it, but it was basically, are they going to let Cousins cook this week because it's the Lions, because they're down Dalvin Cook? I could very easily see Cousins having a monster game,
mm-hmm.
but I could also very easily see it being, okay, you know what, we're up 14-0, 17-0. We're just going to turn around and hand it off. Like, we're just going to bleed this clock. We're not getting hurt. We're not going to risk anything. Like, just, dink and dunk. Here we go. We're going to turn around and hand it off. So I'm going to go with Herbert over Cousins for this week.
Yeah, and I think the point you made before about having like that safe floor is what I'm leaning towards in terms of Cousins. Mm-hmm. I think Herbert has the greater range of outcomes with a more positive the chance for a more positive outcome, but I think Cousins just doesn't have the same floor that Herbert will against a good Bengals team. Like that hasn't been said in a long time,
right?
But against a good Bengals team and a decent Bengals defense, especially one limiting wide quarterbacks, I think it's Cousins for me for safety. If I'm chasing points or going up against one of the big dogs in the league, I'm probably rolling Herbert out there and hoping he has one of his big games.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing that, if he puts up a dud, my team is probably going to dud out also and lose. So
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, that does it for the Fact Attack, and that does it for the show this week. Lots to look forward to. We're close to the playoffs. We're so close. Close. Seth and I, we'll get you there. Don't worry. We'll get you there. First, make sure you follow the show. That's at GX Fantasy Facts. I'm at Dynasty_Pat. Seth is at FF the At Home Dad. Make sure you check out our friends at Viridian Global, viridianglobal.com. Use the code FAX at checkout. Get yourself 10% off your total order. Again, the code is FAX, FAQS.
And Christmas is coming up. What better gift than some wonderful gear from
Then an I'm undervalued t-shirt.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of my comfy t-shirts. Legit. I wear it all the time.
Also, make sure you join us on Underdog at Underdog Fantasy. Use the same promo code FAQS, and they will match up to $100 of your first deposit.
You use that to get into the wild card.
There you go. Absolutely. All right. Well, with that, we will say good night, everyone. Enjoy your week of football.
Oh, yeah. Catch you on the flip side.